All right, today we're gonna make roast chicken. So I bought this chicken, I'd say about 2 months ago. It was on sale and I've just had it in the freezer. And today, we're gonna cook it up. So you're gonna wanna take your chicken out. I took it out the night before and just left it in the fridge overnight and it's to thaw out. So with that, I'm gonna make a compound butter to put underneath the skin. So for that, you're gonna need some butter and a selection of herbs. Now, whatever you can get your hands on, I have got some parsley, chive, basil, rosemary, and thyme here. I'm just gonna finely chop all that up and mix it with the butter. Obviously, also in the butter, I'm gonna put some paprika, salt, pepper. Now for the stuffing, I've got the bigger, like some coarse breadcrumbs here, some big ones. And I'm gonna put some bacon, onions. I also forgot to say, the lemon's also gonna be, some lemon juice is also gonna go into the butter. So for the breadcrumbs, it's got bacon, onion, garlic. I got some lemon and also some ginger, but I'm only gonna use probably about half that. I'm not gonna put too much ginger in. And also, I've got some leeks here that I've had there for a bit, so I'm gonna chop them up and put them up in there with it.
Mama,
okay, so I'm gonna.
Mama, show.
Right. I'm also gonna do some roast vegetables. I'm gonna get some potatoes. I'm gonna do Hasselback potatoes. And yeah. So I'm gonna do Hasselback potatoes, and I've got some fine breadcrumbs here because I'm gonna make a little crumb that goes over the top of the potatoes. So in this crumb, I'm just gonna have a little bit of lemon and some thyme, and yeah, we'll put that over the top. And also I'm gonna roast up some fennel and carrots to go along with the chicken as well. So to make the compound butter, I've just finely chopped up the herbs and got the rind off a lemon. So I'm gonna put all that in with the butter. The butter has to be at room temperature too. It makes things a whole lot easier if the butter is really soft. And then you're gonna add a teaspoon and a half of sugar. A bit more. Then you're gonna add a teaspoon of paprika and that's about a teaspoon of pepper. Also, I've got half the lime. I've got half a lemon. I'm just gonna put the juice of that in there as well. Okay, once you've added all the ingredients in, just go ahead and mix it all in and get it all well combined. With the compound butter, you can add essentially anything in there, and it keeps in the fridge just like regular butter. And you can add it to a lot of different things. All right, once you've got it all mixed together, the lemon juice won't fully incorporate into the mixture. But once you've got it all mixed in well, you're just gonna stick it in the fridge, and then you're gonna let it firm up for a little bit, and then we'll put it in the chicken. All right, so for the stuffing, I've just cut up the bacon, the onion, garlic, leeks. I've just diced them all up really fine. And I've just sauteed them lightly off in a pan, like not so everything's like crispy, but just slightly. And now I've got some thyme and lemon zest here. I'm gonna add that to the pan. This is still hot, so I want it to be still hot when I add this stuff in. So you're gonna add that in, just give it a little mix. Then you're gonna add some lemon juice. Try not to get any pips in there, like I just did. You're also gonna add some salt. It's about a teaspoon of salt. And I'm gonna add some black pepper. I'd say that was about half a teaspoon. You're just going to give this a mix and let it cool down slightly before we add it to the breadcrumb. All right, once your mixture's cooled down a little bit, you're just going to add it to your breadcrumb. And then you're just going to mix this into your breadcrumb. You can best to use your hand. And just mix that all through your breadcrumb until it's all combined. All right, once you've got it all mixed in thoroughly, I'm going to let it sit for about half an hour or so and let it soak up a little bit more of the juice. Because when I pick it up and I squeeze it together, I want it to stick together, which it nearly is now. So it just needs a little bit of time to rest and soak up, and then we'll come back in about half an hour and we'll see how it is. Okay, once your butter's been sitting for a little bit, I've just split it into two and just sort of flatten them out a little bit. Because the next step we're going to do is we're going to put it under the skin so it lays on the breast. So what you want to do is just get yourself a spoon, or the back of it, or a teaspoon also works with this, or a spatula, and just easily, make sure you don't break the skin, but just put the spoon underneath and just separate the meat from the skin. Just take your time here. And yeah, as I said, make sure you try not to puncture the skin as best you can. All right, now once you've got the skin separated from the meat, just grab some of your butter and flatten it out a little bit into a nice little disc. And just go ahead and shove that butter in between the skin and just work it down so it's all along that breast meat there. All right, once you've got all the butter up under the breast, as you can see there, you just want to leave it. You can also do this the night before and leave it in the fridge, but I haven't got that luxury, so I'm just going to stick it in the fridge for about half an hour, uncovered, and then I'll take it out the fridge in about half an hour, and then let it sit on the counter for about half an hour before we stick it in the oven. Okay, so the stuffing's been sitting there for a little bit now. As you can see, it's still very dry. So all I'm going to do is just add a little bit of milk, just enough until it all comes together and sticks together once you've mixed it in. So just don't add too much, just a little bit at a time, and mix it in, and then yeah, until it comes together. All right. If you had some chicken stock on hand, that would have been ideal to put in here, but as I don't have any, so I use some milk. But so now I've just added enough, and as you squeeze it, it's just holding together like that. That's perfect for what you need. So we'll, as I said, we'll just sit that aside for now, and then once the chicken's ready, we'll shove it up the butt. All right. I've had the chicken I put it in the fridge and then took it out about half an hour ago, just so it's not completely cold when we put it in the oven. Now we're just gonna grab our stuffing. We're just gonna start shoveling it up the butt. Okay, once you've stuffed your chicken, you're just gonna get it and you're gonna stick it on a baking tray, on a rack, and then just on the top here, you're just going to drizzle some olive oil, just give it a little rubbing. So once you've rubbed the oil and you've got it all coated on there, you're just going to sprinkle a little bit of salt on it over the top of the skin. All right, once you've got oil and salt all over it, you're going to stick it into a preheated oven that's been preheated to about 180, and then it's going to cook for about an hour to an hour and a half. We'll check it with the probe once it gets near done. Okay, with the vegetables, in a bowl, I've just chunked up the carrot and the fennel, and I've got some whole garlic cloves in there that are just, peeled. And now I'm just gonna give them a squirt of olive oil, sprinkle in a little bit of paprika, little bit of onion powder, some salt. I'm going to crack in some fresh pepper. Alright, we'll just give that a quick toss around. Now they're ready for the oven. Alright, for the Hasselback potatoes, I've just gone along and I've chopped them in little bits. I don't know if you can, it's coming out on the camera, yeah? But I haven't cut all the way through. So you just want to put them on a rack, because that's so they don't roll around. You want to have the cut side up, and just put a little bit of oil on each of them. And just give them a little rub around so they're all coated in oil. Alright, once they're all coated, you just want to give each of them a little sprinkling of salt. Now you stick them in the oven, and as they cook, you'll see them starting to open up a little bit. Okay, with the rest of your stuffing, you just want to get yourself a dish that's oven proof. Now you want to put some oil or butter. I've actually got a little bit of bacon grease here, so I'm just going to coat the inside of the bowl with the bacon grease. You just need something to help it not to stick once it's cooked. So once you've got it all coated there, you just want to get your stuffing. You just want to put it all into the dish. Once it's all in there, just lightly, not too hard, just lightly pack it down. And then for a little extra, just give it a light, little bit of grease over the top, bacon grease. Right, and that's ready to put in the oven. Okay, I've got my vegetables under here on some parchment paper. Got the potatoes next to that. I've got my extra dressing here. And I've got my chicken cooking over on this one here. Alright, so to put on top of the Hasselback potatoes, I've just lightly browned some fine breadcrumbs in some butter. And I've also added some lemon zest and some coriander. I'll usually use parsley, but I had some coriander left over, and yeah, it'll work just fine. So, as you can see, the potatoes have opened up a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle just a little bit of oil on there. Just going to go ahead and sprinkle some of the breadcrumbs on top. Alright, once you put the breadcrumb on top, you're just going to stick it back in the oven, finish off cooking. So, the chicken's ready. I had I probed it a few minutes ago, and it was with the thermometer, and it was all ready. So I just flipped it over to get a little bit of color on this backside. And now all we're going to do is loosely put some foil on it like that, and then let it rest for about 20 minutes. So, once everything's ready and your chicken's rested, just take it all out the oven and you're ready to carve it up. So, if you want some juicy chicken breast, you're going to put that butter underneath the skin like I did. And also, when you, if you're not a fan of fennel, because of the way it smells when it's not cooked, just cut some up and roast it, because it gets rid of that very aniseedy taste, and it tastes really, really good after, like when you bake it. It gets really, really sweet, and it's really, really nice. That's some good stuff.